Hey everybody, welcome back to the Snake Pit where I break down my year-long war study numbers for Empires and Puzzles War Defense and give those to you. Today we're going through Attack Boost. All right, like I said, welcome back. Today we're going to cover the Attack Boost war type. So I'm very excited about that. And I've also got something special at the end of this segment. So I've been looking at a new way to dive into the stats and to find ways to leverage and to understand, uh, the mechanics behind it all. So I'm very excited. I'm going to show you. It's not done yet, but I will show you what I've done so far as it pertains to attack boost. And I think you're going to be very interested to see that information. So stay with me. But let's go into the attack boost war type right now. And this is this war type is one of the original three. So it was there at the start when it was just field aid, attack boost, and arrow barrage. It's kind of the forgotten war type. The insignificant one might be better. Nobody really thinks about this one compared to the others, and it's probably because if you can end the fight fast, the attack boost is negligible. There's it's an insignificant increase in my mind. Um, and the reason for that, so well, let's talk about it. So the defenders will get the support of the attack boost, but they get 10% attack boost once the bar fills up. So there'll be a little bar at the top above the defending heroes, and when that bar fills up, that's when it activates and the boost is applied. The boost will get stronger as it for every time that it gets activated. So for every time it gets activated, the boost will grow. The bar also fills up, so it'll activate faster when there's less heroes on the defending team. When there's a full team of 5 on the other side, it takes roughly 6 turns for that bar to fill up. When there's only one defender left, it takes I think it's 2 turns to fill. So it goes faster and faster, gets stronger and stronger. But like I said, it's most fights are done by then. So if you count out how many turns it takes just to get it to go off a few times, or you know what, maybe it'll go off many times, but when you've just got a defender on the wing, it's not going to take long to take that person out when you can ghost a bunch of tiles. So that's why I don't think it has that big of an impact. And to put it in perspective of how many times this needs to activate for it to be useful, is let's take Bold Tusk in his regular form. He boosts attack by 48%. It would take 5 activations to be better than what Bold Tusk gives you. And when you count out, like if you're up against a full team, has to go off 5 times, we're looking at 30 turns. 30 turns by the time it gets to that 4-star buff. So it's not that much. And yes, it could be a lot less turns depending on how many people you take out. But now there's heroes that are gone. So it's going to be much easier, much more manageable. Anyways, if you disagree, put it in the comments. I just don't see attack boost giving that much of an advantage where you really need to design your teams against it. And I'm going to show you in the stats that kind of backs it up, because the Optimum War Defense teams, when it comes to heroes that can heal in the different formations, and that's what I've been covering for this first part of my war study, it's kind of a jack of all trades. It's all over the place. So you'll see that in the numbers. Let's go right to the stats. So attack boost, general formations. I'm following the same guidelines as I always have, just to keep the consistency. And if you look at this, so we got 1,157 different teams that have been observed in attack boost. And here's the average survivability rate. It's 27.6. That should be a familiar number. My last video, that war type had the same one, Equalizer. It's tied with Equalizer as the second lowest average survivability rate between the 5 different war types. There's only one that's a little bit lower, and it's only a little bit lower. So really, we can see just by these numbers alone that defenders don't get that much help with the rule set that's applied to this war type. So again, I just don't feel it's that effective, and it goes to show because there's war types that gives defenders a much bigger advantage. So here's what we're going to go through, all those different general formations. And again, these are general ones. These ones are kind of good to know. It's going to be the more granular breakdowns that are going to help you more. And I'll get into those ones, the ones that I've done. And we can see the spread here. So one healer is the most popular. It accounts for over half of the different formations used. And we haven't seen any 4 or 5 healers for this type. So here's no healers. It's at 29.0%. So it's green. It's above average. It's good to go. When we get to one healer, at 27.2%. Again, remember there's different formations, different possibilities for one healer. So we'll break those down after. But as a whole, one healer is slightly below average, but it's an average. 2 healers goes down. It's in the red. Oddly enough, 3 healers it's in the average range, but it's actually above the average survivability rate. And I've got no data at all for 4 and 5 healers. I mean, it's not common throughout all of the war types, but sometimes there are some. Right now, we're going to go into the single healer and break down that number. So there's our baselines. Of course, 27.6 is the average of every different type of formation in this war. One healer overall, there's 27.2, just below average. And here's what we're going to break down. The one healer at tank, one healer at flank, and wing. Pretty even spread throughout for the most part. And one healer at tank is 28.8. So, of course, we're going to find a glimmer of hope. And one healer at tank is commonly coming up as a top kind of contender. I mean, it's not really high over the average, but it is still above average, and this is a common theme that we see. One healer at flank is also just slightly above average, but in the average range of that 1%. That's why it's yellow. And one healer at wing is 25.8%. Wow. Now, we've seen this before where a reviver makes a world of difference between whether there's a reviver there or not. Let's break that down. And we can see that there hasn't been a lot of cases of revivers, but there was a lot of where they can't revive. So when the healer can revive, it's 28.0%. It's average. And there's 36 cases here. And I know the more data we've got, the more occurrences of it, the better we are at homing in on that average. But 36 teams, We're getting there. It's this is pretty much where it sits. Of course, it's not to say that if you put a reviver on, you're not going to get above that. Of course, you will. Those cases have happened. Also, it's done worse. And when a healer cannot revive, 25.1%. This is another theme that goes on and on. We saw this in the overall war video. We saw it in the equalizer video, and we're seeing it here. Common theme. Try to keep this in mind. I know that we can't change the numbers of the past of what we're seeing here, but certainly I hope that that people are cognizant of this little detail, that when you have a single healer and it's on the wing and it can't revive, it does not perform as well as other formations. Let's go now into the two healers like we typically do. We're going to break that one down. So this one came up red when you look at two healers overall at 25.8%. Here's our different criteria that we go through. And there's not a lot, but there's a lot. There's a lot at flank tank in this one for some reason. And I mean, it's got a lot in other war types too. Generally more than the others, but this one is weighted very far that way. So wing flank, 29.3%. That's a good score. That's a really good score. Wing tank is 24.2. Wing is 28.0. Flank, which is also seems to be appearing to be on the low side commonly. And flank tank, 26.8%. It's 26.8% is just below average. It's almost into the red, but it's not. But what I find here, it's odd, is that so it's scattered all over the place. There's not really a common theme like we saw with Equalizer, where the two healer formations that included tank were both high, along with the single healer at tank, where we could identify that the healers towards the center are very helpful, and your survivability rate goes up as you get closer to them. That's not the case here. It's kind of scattered about, and I haven't been able to make sense of it yet to see the trend. If any of you have, please write it in the comments. I'd love to see what you think of this so far. And of course, the two healers at wing is something else that we'll break down. There's only 10 occurrences of it in this one for this war type, but we'll have a look, because I know I had a strong interest on how much revivers affected the outcome. So we're going to take a look at it. So 28.0%, just above average for wing. We'll go through it with no revivers, one reviver, and where both those wing healers are revivers. So no revivers, 34.7%. This one is actually the highest percentage of survivability rate of the entire war type, which is odd because we haven't seen this in the past. Now, granted, there's only 2 occurrences of this. So two, if they were both fluky performances by that defensive team, or those 2 defensive teams, then we're, it's going to scatter those stats and weight them very highly. I don't think that this would sit at the top if there was more occurrences of it. That's just my hypothesis on that. For one reviver, 26.4%. That's even lower than the average. And then for both revivers on the wings, I don't have any data. It's never happened, and I'm seeing that with the faster type wars. People aren't trying it, and it'd be interesting to see what would happen if people did. The next segment that I normally do is the tank versus flank, uh, for whether the tank color that's agreed upon or designated by the alliance is used at the tank or the flank. I've given you the numbers. There's no reason for suspense on this one because the rainbow teams are better in this one than they are for the flanks of color. So it's better to go with a rainbow team than to stick the the flanks in as the same color for the designated one and sticking something else. But again, just like with Equalizer, we didn't run any dark or holy tanks for this war type. So we're not seeing where the benefit comes from that dark holy relationship. So in summary, for attack boost, the average 27.6% survivability rate. We'll go through the best formations first, and then we'll look at the worst ones. Single healer at tank, 28.8%. It's just above the average, but it's there. No healers, 29.0%. So like Equalizer, no healers does actually very well in this with under these war rules. And two healers, wing flank at 29.3%. And I'm putting a fourth one on here because I won't skew the data or the numbers. It's two healers, wing. We saw this. This is the highest, and it's the highest by far. But there's got to be an asterisk next to it because there's only 2 occurrences of it, as opposed to the others where there's been many occurrences. So we'll take that one with a grain of salt. Now for the worst formations. So a single non-reviving healer on the wing, like in most other wars, 25.1%. It's below average. Next is 2 healers, wing tank, at 24.2%. And 2 healers, flank, 21.0%. Now remember, we didn't have any occurrences of 4 healers or 5 healers, and that normally makes the list down here in the red, but we don't. But what we do see here is it's scattered. Even when we look at the summary, when we looked at all those other previous pages, there's no rhyme or reason. Take a look at the top performing formations. Single healer at tank, no healers, 2 healers. We've got a wide array up at the top. And then when we look at the bottom, we've also got a single healer and two healers, where we've got 2 healer formations at the top. And, even the one at the bottom includes the wing. You could argue, well, we got wing and wing flank at the top. Well, we got wing tank down below. And we know that a single healer on tank is good. Listen, it seems to be a mess. These are the numbers. These are the best formations. I can't honestly tell you why that these ones are good and these ones are bad, because there's no easy trend to follow. Lastly, on this one, like I said, I would remove that top one. So your top of all is wing flank at 29.3%. And to notice when we strike off that top one, I mean, you can if you like or don't. But 2 healer wing flank is only 1.7% better than the average. So there's not a big scale. I would say with this war type, go with your gut. Go with your best heroes. It's there's not a clear winner when it comes to how many healers and where to put them. Now, I told you I had something different for you. And I'm going to bring it up right now. And this is a result of a lot of feedback I've been getting, a lot of questions. I'm listening to all your questions. I'm reading your comments in the forums, on my webpage, on my channel page. And there's a lot of good thinkers out there. Got a lot of good ideas. So I started digging into one of them because, I did say that I was going to focus on healers first. I thought it was most important. So I started crunching numbers for some other things. And this is what I came up with. So I'm examining right now about attackers. It doesn't matter if it's a sniper, so a hit 1, a hit 3 type hero, or a hit all. And when you look at this table in front of you, look at the weight of how many occurrences that there's been. So hit all, of course, is fairly even. When you look at the hit 1, so that would be your snipers. So when you look at snipers, they're always positioned on the wing. Do you think that's the best place for them? We'll find out. And then hit 3, it has a decent spread as well. So when I start dissecting this, I also want to mention that I calculated in heroes that were their main function is the attack. So there's some heroes that I didn't include where it's more of a side thing. The heroes are so diverse. They're so intertwined into different groups. When you try to break them down into, is it a healer? Is it support? Is it a minion? Is it an attacker? So the ones that I did, they're clearly attackers. Yes, they may have some other effects that they do as well, but their attack is significant enough. For instance, I didn't include Margaret into this group because yes, she attacks, but it is such a low percentage. It's an afterthought, and her main role is obviously for the dodge as a supporter. I'm going to play with this. I'm going to see maybe the community, maybe you have ideas of how where to draw the lines on this. But for now, these are the ones that I assessed as being the most all heroes that fit this bill of being true attackers. So for hit 1, 25.7%. We see our average up there, 27.6. So a sniper as a tank is bad, 101 ways. As a flank, it goes up to 26.3%. So it's a little bit better as it moves away from the center. And as a wing, 27.2. Well, now we're talking a little bit, but it's still below average. And you know what? That number is not budging for a long while unless something major changes, because that's 1,028 different cases, all averaged together. Trust me, this is where they sit. Now, yes, some snipers are built differently than other snipers. They're not all cut from the same cloth. We'll get into that once I start pumping out all those individual hero reports for you, and you can see which heroes do better in certain ones. Now let's go into the hit 3 type heroes. So at tank, 25.0%. It's right down there with the snipers. It's not impressive at all. It's below average. At flank, 27.7. Doing better. We're actually finally above average. And on the wing, it increases yet again. You see the trend here with the hitters? So both with the snipers and the hit 3 type attackers, they do worse up and tight, but where the tank is, and they do better as you move out towards the wing. Let's see what hit all type attackers do. So at tank, 29.4%. We're in the green. And, this may also help you decide, should I bring a sniper? Should I bring a multi-target attacker? At flank, 30% 33.1. So far, we're seeing the same trend of it going up as you get away from the tank position with these attackers. And for the hit all type attackers, 33.14%, 33.1% at the wing. So in all cases, it gets better as you move out. And if you, outside of that, the tank for hit 3, which is not that far off, the more targets that attacker is hitting, the better. So I found this extremely fascinating, and I think this is useful. So if I wasn't able to find much useful for you out of the healers for the attack boost, I hope that this will give you something to chew on until I get out the full report on this. And the reason I say this, it's going to take a little bit of time, is because I don't want to just focus on the hitters, because been getting a lot of questions from all kinds of people about different types of groups. So what about the ones that hit various targets? You know, I couldn't fit in the ninjas because they can hit 1, they can hit 3, they can hit all. I got to figure out how I'm going to sort that out. Same thing with the Alfreiks, or the ones like Finley or Missandra that will attack 1 and maybe hit more. For support, our support heroes, how do they fit in? What about the minion heroes? They're popular, they're effective. We know that some of them are. So how do they fit in against this? What about the healers for tank, flank, wing, and revivers? Revivers are not just healers, so they are, they're going to be its own group as well. Maybe some other groups that I haven't really thought of. This is off the top of my head. So I want to do the hit 1, hit 3, hit all, and all these other ones that I just mentioned. It's going to be hard to separate them because a lot of them overlap, but I'll get there. I'll figure this out and come up with more. But for now, that chart that I put in front of you may be helpful. And again, this is for attack boost. I can't guarantee you that increasing the number of targets that an attacker hits is going to be better in all war types. And I can't say that moving them closer to the wings is going to be better in all war types, but it is for attack boost. Okay, that's it for today. Enough numbers, but we did cover the best formations when using healers, and of course the brand new feature that I put into this one that's going to be coming soon is which are the best attackers and where is the best place to put them. Again, thank you so much for coming by. Don't forget to subscribe. It helps me out very much. And if you like my video, please throw me a like. If you didn't, leave me a comment. Tell me what you didn't like. I'm good with that too. Until next time, I'm Snake, and I'm here to help you defend yourself.